When I was a kid, my father always used to ask me before I went to bed, Rob, did you clean your teeth? He was British, and what he meant was brush my teeth. And my father had, and I didn't. I was a little kid, and I was a little brat. And my father had horrible teeth. He was already English, and also had grown up in England as a little boy during World War II. And when you're getting bombed by Nazis, dental hygiene is not the highest thing on your list. So one day my family and I, we were waiting to be seated in a restaurant, and we were in the bar area, and my father bit into a nut, and a piece of tooth just cracked. And he just pulled it out and put it in an ashtray, because at that point, what are you gonna do? And he wanted me not to repeat the same mistakes that he had made. So, when I was 27, I did that thing where you don't go to the dentist for like 3 years. And when I went, the dentist said, "Oh, you need a root canal." And I was terrified, because root canal is like shorthand for awful experience. I'd rather have a root canal than or you know what I mean? But with enough Novocaine, it's not that big a deal. But the dentist looked at my other tooth and she said, on the other side, it's getting kind of bad. You might need another root canal. But we'll wait 6 months to see for your next checkup. Roughly 5 months and 30 days later, I get a really bad ache in my like lower right jaw at approximately 10 p.m. And after an hour, it becomes pretty clear that I need another root canal. But there's nothing to do because it's 10 p.m. and you can't call a dentist. And the pain, okay, when there's pain, if you have external pain and you hurt your arm, you can grab your arm, you know what I mean? But when the pain comes from inside your skull, there's nothing to do. So I just had this, whenever the pain would hit really bad, I just had this really bizarre gesture that I would do to deal with it. I just went, ah! I don't know why. I don't know why field goal, means like that. I don't know what it is. So it was about 10 p.m. and I was going home with my roommate and our friend Risa, who was staying with us. John was my oldest friend and Risa was our mutual friend. She was crashing with us. And she had just graduated from med school. And she just had a big old tackle box full of drugs. And she says to me, "Oh, Rob, do you want some Vicodin? That could help." Another thing about me, I am terrified of drugs. All those 80s very special episodes worked like a charm on me. When Mike Seaver wouldn't smoke crack in the Growing Pains episode, and that Punky Brewster where her friend had a seizure in the treehouse, or I could go on. And so I hear Vicodin and I think, no. People go to rehab because of Vicodin. I'm not taking Vicodin. And she says, "Well, I have some Tylenol with codeine." And I was like, okay, I've been prescribed that by a physician. I'll take some Tylenol with codeine. And I took it, and it worked for 30 fucking seconds, and then I'm back. And it hurts so much, and just, and I don't know what to do. It's like 11 p.m. and then it's 12 a.m. and people are going to sleep and I need to distract myself because I lay down and I was like, I'm going to close my eyes and go to sleep, and my tooth was like, no, you're not. And then I go and I'm like, I need to distract myself. It's 2 a.m. now. How about I watch the best of Will Ferrell SNL DVDs? That'll be great, right? More cowbell. That's really funny. And then I go to YouTube, and Eddie Murphy Raw was on YouTube, and it's really funny. You know what I mean? It's like distracting, isn't it? We got McDonald's. And it's not working. I can't sleep. I'm pacing, and being up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. when you're in pain is so awful. It's so dark, and you just feel so lonely, and I don't know what to do. And at approximately 5:30 a.m., I called my mommy. I had reached that point where I am in so much pain and I don't know what to do. I need my mommy to tell me that she loves me and that this is going to be okay. And she did. And I had woken her up and she said that, and I mentioned, Mom, Risa actually has Vicodin, and she is much more Puritan than I. And she didn't balk at that, and I took that as tacit approval to take the Vicodin. And I go into my living room and I shake Risa awake, and I say, "Risa, give me the Vicodin." And I take 2, and they work wonderfully. And I sleep for about 4 hours. And I wake up the next morning and I call in work and I say, I'm not coming in. And I call my dentist and I say, fire up the Novocaine, Daddy needs a root canal. And I got it done. And it all worked out. And when I look back at this experience, what I realized is I should have listened to my dad because I paid for it literally and figuratively. Parental advice is so odd because these bizarre people that you call your parents have lifetimes of experience that they want to impart upon you. And sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. And the thing of it is, you never know what they're right about until you've actually lived it yourself. Thank you.
Rob Penty.